Hey, what's going on, guys? So I thought I'd do another update here, and just kind of let you guys know what's going on with me, but at the same time, just doing this for myself. Obviously, I have tons of writing in my journals and on my computer, but sometimes it's nice to reflect on a video. So right now, still just running on the hamster wheel of wanting to change, wanting to do something, and not doing anything, not feeling comfortable with where I'm at. Um, I'm getting a bit better physically. I'm able to do a bit more, but still, I think I pull myself down a little because I'm afraid of hurting myself or feeling like crap. And so I think mainly it's my fear that I'm struggling with, because if I look at the results of certain things, for example, yesterday I shoveled 3 times and did a workout. Not a big one or anything, but I moved my body with some weights and stuff like that in the house. And uh, I'm sore today a little bit in like certain parts that I struggle with like my back, my lower back and side. Um, but other than that, I feel okay. My energy's slightly drained. I do have a bit of an eating issue, right? So I'm always afraid to eat, and I feel always lethargic. So I never really feel like eating, although my mind is always thinking about food. So it's very contradictory and paradoxical. It's weird. Um, but again, it's just an addiction. It's just the mind trying to grab onto something to feel somewhat satisfied in some way, shape, or form. In the mornings, like about the last 4 or 5 days, I've just been answering questions from a book that I'm reading called Mind Over Medicine. And I find the questions really helpful because they're introspective with my own life. Of course, you somewhat have to be careful of the mindset that you're in. If I read a question and I'm not ready to answer that, or I immediately get negative things coming up, I just try it. I just forget about it. I don't even say I'm going to come back to it. I just forget about it, and if I see those questions later, great. Because I think at this moment I'm really just too vulnerable for that. And as much as I'd like to think, that I can willpower it through and smarten up and blah 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 blah. I just feel like my emotional body just kind of takes over, my mind takes over. I'm just still a little susceptible, so just try to be careful there. Um, I need to find another job, but I also think that I might need to do something really radically different. So that might mean like going on a vacation somewhere, doing something that's going to get me outside my comfort zone, but not so much so that I feel threatened, because then I might have, flare ups and attacks mentally and physically. My mental edge right now is quite small, if I can say. And I know it can change, but what I mean by small is I feel very much like I'm only a few steps away from going into like a psychosis. Um, and I only say that because I can just see how vulnerable I am to the voices inside my head, the emotions I feel, the thoughts, yeah, like the thoughts that are arising, and they're not good ones. Just a lack of overall interest in life, anyways, a feeling of zombiness. I need to feel alive, and I think I do need the rush. I think I've lived off the adrenaline rush for most of my life, and for a long time now, I've not had that, and I think it's kind of good for my body in some way, shape, or form. But it's almost like I replaced the positive adrenaline rush ish, positive ish, with a negative one, which means like cortisol's just running through my veins because I'm just so anxious mentally. Whereas before I was anxious mentally and stuff, but I was taxing myself super physically, not listening to the signs and symptoms along the way, feeling extremely lonely, all these sorts of things, and not doing much about it, and just continuing to suffer, thinking that, you know, the masochist in me, the thinking that, you need to keep pushing harder in order to get better. Not like healing better, but like better, you know? And anyhow, I know that's kind of not very, it's more descriptive than it is concise about what's going on for me. Um, but yeah, I'm hoping, like I've said in the past, that I something happens in a positive way, or a way that gets me to change. I'm afraid of sometimes even right now. My I have a notion of like that change is going to be negative. Like it's the voice is like, well, you can be positive, but I'm right there too, and I can make you go into psychosis and blah 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 blah. Right? So it's trying to. I don't want to say feed, but in some way know that okay, I understand that. I'll try not to do things that would correlate with that, right? But again, our habits are our habits. I've been conditioned and ingrained myself into this small little box, and that box is not very conducive to the positive aspects of my life. So anyhow, without getting too much longer, that's where I'm at.